Attention.
We're back at the start now with the Hambleden Challenge Trophy. Now, we saw the other semi-final to this earlier that was won by Leander Club. Now we've got Lee Rowing Club on your right-hand station in that orange strip, and on the left-hand side, well, we were just talking about the Tideway Scullers programme. Here they are again in an elite event, the Hambleden Challenge Trophy on the left-hand side of your picture.
Yeah, no, it's that depth of that group they have at the moment, but also Lee Rowing Club. You know, they made the men made the final of the bifold earlier on, so that, you know, another club that's been able to come to the regatta, men and women competing, some great performances, and it's great to see these clubs coming back to life. I think, you know, being at the regatta, being competitive.
And a great start here for the Tideway Scullers pair. They've got a length over Lee Rowing Club at the moment. In the stroke seat, Meg Saunders, the ex-Stanford University athlete that's got oodles of NCAA experience, which is the university racing program that you get over in the States. She's leading this boat down the track, backed up by Lindsay. And they look very long, don't they, Mark? It's great to see in a pair that they can get out, because it's a very unstable boat. So I think length and getting around the catch is so important. Yeah,
you get stability from having great hull speed, you know, being able to move together, work together, and obviously, you know, the standard of the NCAA is very impressive, and that's why normally we didn't see it this year with the US 8. The women's 8 is so dominant in that event. You know, I worked at UCLA for a year, so I saw the level of competition out there, and that was like 12 years ago, and obviously that's just increased. And it's great to see an athletes, you know, finishing their A-levels, going over to study over there, being part of that, and then wanting to come back, which is, you know, so important to come back to their club that they started at, or join a new club and just come back to the UK and, you know, kind of spread that insight, experience and knowledge of being in those big races.
Yeah, and look at that lead they've managed to impose on Lee Rowing Club. Now, again, we're talking about clubs racing at the top level. We must give great credit to the first ever female crew from Lee Rowing Club racing here. And to make the Saturday, you know, they went through a round yesterday. I think they were pretty gobsmacked and delighted to make this semi-final. And here they are, you know, racing against two under-23 silver medalists. So pretty good stuff.
But it shows you the calibre of the event. We kind of mentioned that in some of the other races we've seen. You know, the depth of talent that we have in the UK, in GB now, which is brilliant. And we talked about them going to study. The studies are so important, but still keeping in the sport, wanting to come back and being part of their club, as we kind of mentioned, and also the international setup.
Yeah, the Lee Rowing Club crew, again, we talk about the sort of steps that people go through to make it to this top level of the regatta. Rebecca Minnich in the bow seat, a novice at Clare College, Cambridge, where she learnt to row. And she then went on to race in the Blondie crew, which is the reserve boat for Cambridge. So lots of pedigree in her rowing history. And she's paired up with Caroline Newbury in the stroke seat, who has a tiny bit of Henley experience. She'd raced in the Remenham once before in another club. And yeah, I think that lovely to see that they're able to race in an event like the Hambleden since its introduction in 2017.
And also, what's even more impressive about, you know, these kind of club athletes, the way they're able to manage their training around working, you know, family life, all these other things they have going on, where, you know, if you're an international and you're at college, that kind of fits around the stuff you do, where when you're working, there's just more of a dynamic, because it's probably not as appreciated what you're trying to accomplish with the sport you're participating in.
So Tideway Scullers have just taken a look over. I think they've decided they can take their foot off the gas ever so slightly as they come towards the Fawley marker. And well, I think, like we said, they're both under 23 silver medalists. Meg Saunders, Lily Lindsay, medalists in both 2017 and 2018 and 2019. And they'll be looking to, again, step on like the pair we saw earlier that were part of that Women's 8 in 2019. We saw Megan Slabberts and Sophie Payne, who were their teammates, Lily Lindsay and Meg Sanders' teammates, but it looks like they'll be progressing through to the final. And
I think that's going to be an awesome final. You know, them going head-to-head. Obviously, having raced together, having to know each other, you know, that's going to be really interesting to see the outcome of that particular event.
Yeah, so their teammates got beaten earlier from the women's 8. So the silver medalist that they raced with, the UL Leander Composite, got beaten by the full Leander crew, that bronze medal winning pair from Sabaudia from the third World Cup. They'll face them tomorrow. That's Deer and Redgrave, and they were also just as dominant. So it's going to be a great matchup.
And also with that pair winning that bronze medal, it's going to be really good to see how this pair winning shapes up against them when they come to that big final tomorrow, as long as they maintain what they're doing right now.
Yeah, it's a good comparison, isn't it? The under-23 medalist going up against the senior medalist, a little bit of senior experience. They'll be looking to make the measure of that. But very comfortable here for Tideway Scullers. And again, I cannot even begin to describe to you how difficult it is to row a boat like a pair this well. They're so in tandem, they're so in sync, setting up a beautiful platform into this wind. And yeah, pairs are not easy to row.
And I remember, like, when every so often you have this kind of buffer, you just want the race to be over as quickly as possible because you want to start prepping for your kind of next race. But they're taking the advantage, being on the course, going through those markers, just being aware of where they are, because it is so different once everything's kind of up at Henley. It's not something you get to experience because everything you see on the images is not here the rest of the year. This is just for the regatta. So to have that opportunity to go through where the different markers are, understand where they are, because sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, is really important. And they've got an opportunity to do that right now. And
as they come past Remenham, Remenham Raw not quite awake yet. I'm sure we'll see them this afternoon, but it's great to see a lot of people lining the banks here on the right-hand side. You can see people starting to come down. The Saturday is a really popular day to be at the regatta. Lots of colour, lots of spectacle, and we've got some fantastic racing throughout the day to give them, and a fantastic display of what British women's rowing is all about going on in front of them now.
Yeah, and I think it's great to see the different clubs that have made it through to Saturday. There's been a great variety. In this particular event, we've got Tideway Scullers and Lee, different parts of the river. Obviously, got someone from the kind of East End side, and obviously someone from up at kind of Putney, Chiswick. So, the different dynamics of where these individuals come from. And, the Lee will be used to training on a canal, basically, that's not very wide. Where obviously Tideway Scullers are used to being on a vast river up at Chiswick.
And a vast amount of water they have too. It's never been in doubt, as we can zoom in here on Caroline Newbury and Becky Minnich of the Lee Rowing Club, still striking high, trying to make the most of this as they come past the 1:08 signal. This will be the last time they go down that Henley track in 2021, but we hope to see them back.
Yeah, and I think this is really important. They'll go back and they feed that experience to the other females at the club. That inspires them, and we'll see them, I'm sure, maybe in the pair or be in the 4 of the next year. So I think that's so important, where you're kind of taking what you've learned and giving it to someone else.
Yeah, the crew from the Lee, they were Henley women's winners in the Cox 4 back in 2017 together. They've moved into this pair now, and they're Saturday athletes at Henley Royal Regatta in an elite event like the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup. But just gotten the better of by the up-and-coming athletes, the under-23s, that will be pressing on to try and make selection for the next games in Paris.
Yeah, no, obviously a very talented pair we've got here from Tideway Scullers with the kind of history they have and what they've won, what they've raced in, what they've been competitive with, and they've really kind of shown that today with their class.
Just a little peer out the side of the left-hand side of her eye there, Meg Saunders in the stroke seat. Just wanting to see where the line is, and like you say, you're wishing for it to come almost at this point. You just want to get it done so you can get back to the boat bays, get yourself rested, because they will have a big, big race tomorrow in the final of the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup against Leander, and it will be home time for the Lee Rowing Club, but as I say, we hope to see them back, especially in some of the new events later on in the coming years.